I think mostly it's just being able to get something custom as opposed to getting stuff off of the rack. It's a big deal because I went from going to places where you would get like Zegna suits and let me think about it, Hugo Boss and things of that nature, which you thought were really great brands, and then you finally get a custom fit and it's cut for you, and you walk into a room and it's a different reaction because that's your suit as opposed to something. So I think over the years it's kind of transitioned from buying stuff off the rack to now being able to get things custom made to it being your style, what you pick out, the fabrics, the texture, the style of cotton, all that stuff is very important, and you have to really evolve with that so you get what you want. Yeah, we all had biking shorts at West Georgia.
We all did.
Yeah, and the thing about it was, they didn't have any pockets, which was always interesting. I mean, but I had like the hat with the flip up on it, and the whole thing. So, people always like they want to email you and say, "I still got pictures of you." I'm like, well, send me one of you too. I think with being a radio personality, you have different events. You kind of have to be a chameleon. Sometimes it could be a school, sometimes it could be a senior citizens dance, sometimes it could be, a very organized, prestigious event like the 100 Black Men, and then some other times it could just be, a sports bar. So I just think you have to be able to feel comfortable in your own skin and making sure that you kind of just blend in with the environment. No, I think that most of the stuff that I pick out is basically my idea. My wife is a person who can tell me when something has started to, her favorite term is it looks a little young. So, and I'll tell her the same thing too. Sometimes, she'll put on something and it's about to head out the door, and I'm like, not for what you're about to do. I mean, sometimes things that like my biggest mistake is I'll see something on the rack, like I'll shop in a hurry, and I'll grab it, and then I'll not try it on. Then I'll get home, and it may sit in my closet for who knows how long. And then when I put it on, first I look at the price tag, I'm like, I can't believe I paid for this. And then I put it on, and it doesn't look right. So that's what I've learned. Like if you're gonna go out and shop, then take time to make sure that you have time to try stuff on. For instance, like my wife's is very, we're yin and yang, So I'm very, if I pick something out of the case, it's gonna be, oh. She picks something out of the case and be like, oh, because she's very low key, So if I buy her something, if I buy her, Jimmy Choo or Gucci or anything like that, or Louis Vuitton, I have to get that for her. And most of the shoes that she has, I picked out for her because I know what she looks good in. So if it's some knee-length boots or whatever, I go into the store and I look at what's new and what's hot, and I go from there. And I've done pretty well. So I mean, I'm pretty proud of my. See, now you should ask her about her style, cause I be hooking her up. She be getting. You branch out to other things that you think the person wouldn't traditionally buy for themselves.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, because she's very understated. My wife's very beautiful, but she's low key. So, but I'm like, if you're gonna be out there with everybody else, I want you to, look the part. So, we try to do what we can to make her do that, and she does. She wears it well. I think if you go into a place that's like, like I was just telling somebody the other day that I want to go to New York and just spend time and just shop and not have a time limit, because usually it's like you got 3 or 4 hours and you're trying to hit everything and get out of there. But sometimes I go into a place like Bergdorf's or even some of the other stores, and there are people that work in there that can recommend stuff. Like now I have jeans that I travel in, for the simple fact that now I know there's a softer denim that's more comfortable to get on the airplane with, and especially if you got a long flight. I think you should always travel dress for your situation. There's no need in getting on a plane and having on some nice crisp Levi's that are going to be uncomfortable after about the first hour, and you're on there trying to, you know, squirm around. I mean, it's like you have to adapt to your situation. So I say for guys, the first thing that I always say is, it doesn't matter about the suit or the accessories, the jewelry. If the shoes are uncomfortable, it just makes everything else go downhill, you know, because if your feet hurt, you're going to walk differently, you know, you're not going to be smiling. So, I mean, I had to learn that from going from, I used to always, my thing was always getting square-toe shoes every time, because I thought they were like, okay, these aren't going to hurt my feet. So whatever it was a square toe, until I realized that if you go up in quality, especially if you go into some of the things like the shoes that are, you know, made for your foot, or, you know, you go into some high-end stuff, that it's going to be a different fit. You know, it evolves. But I say the shoes are the most important thing, because if your feet hurt, it don't matter what you got on. I think that most guys look, and most of my friends, we think that, you know, how a woman pulls off a business suit is kind of sets the tone for things, because, you know, you have people that go out to clubs and they have on their club gear. I was just talking to somebody yesterday whose mother was going off on them because they had on a shirt that had flesh-colored tights, and the shirt was the same color as the tights, and the mother was very upset because she was like, you look like, you know, and started calling. They got into a big argument, but I was like, you know, where were you going? And, you know, what were you trying to, what's your statement that you're making? You know, it's like you can't dress, you know, too sexy if you want somebody not to say something, you know, crass to you. You can't, even though a man has to know his line and where he can cross it, but I'm like, you know, if a woman can pull off a business suit, you know, and she walks down the hall and she looks professional, like she is really ready to take a meeting or do something like that, then I think that's 10 times more sexy than seeing somebody with some, you know, that tiny black dress that everybody seems to have in all the magazines, you know, to me, and most of the guys I know.